there. All right, Assalamu alaikum, beautiful people. And those who are not beautiful too. Assalamu alaikum, Coach Nazir. I'll send personal relationships.
Assalamu alaikum, peace. It's Fatimah, Coach Fatimah.
Assalamu alaikum, peace. It's not Coach Nyla. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to share. And so I totally like, anyway. But yeah, make sure you guys are sharing too, okay? So, yeah.
Yeah, so we give it a little bit of time. So in the room, of course, sharing is important. So you can share, let other people know about it. Get some time for people to join us, start your watch parties or what have you. Today's conversation includes us dealing with
Cultivating co-wife relationships.
Yes, indeed.
How to, some
all right.
practical advice. Let us know where you all are from. Shout out where you're from. How's your day going? Is it island, country, or continent? Let us know where you're at.
City where you quarantine, where you laid up at.
How is quarantine going for you?
Yeah, so chime in the comments, where you come, where you chiming in from, what city, how are you enjoying your Ramadan, if you are celebrating and recognizing the 17th or the 16th day, depending on when you started, of Ramadan and you're fasting, inshallah. It'd be great. So I have my laptop in front of me, right? So we'll be able to chime in and go back and forth from YouTube and Facebook. I can't just get up and run over there to you guys over there on IG, you know what I'm saying, when it's more interactive here or maybe have it in front of us than we can, but not right now. But I will try to get up regardless if you have any questions, comments, but definitely appreciate you plugging in.
Yes.
And we're doing, some sharing, just getting ready. And I guess about 30 more seconds, we just jump into the topic. I'm going to continue sharing more because, of course, you want to hear from the co-wives and coaches, Fatimah and Nyla.
Look at them on IG. See y'all. Assalamu alaikum. Mubarak.
Again, today's topic is
Cultivating co-wife
Conversations.
all that. Relationships which need conversation. Conversations to be had. And we're going to get into that. And I wish I could see what they're saying.
So this is the month of cultivating, because that's pretty much what that's pretty much where we are. This is the month of cultivating. We do a theme every month, and this month is cultivating. Of course, it's spring, or at least it's supposed to be, because here, I don't know what it really want to do. Like it want to be spring, it don't want to be spring. We call it like sprinter or something. But yeah, it's about, growing, planting these seeds and all that other good stuff. So, just like a garden, whether it's food or fruits, vegetables, flowers, anything like that, you want to make sure that you are cultivating your garden so you can reap a beautiful harvest. Same thing goes with relationships. You want to make sure you are cultivating these relationships so they can be more fulfilling in your life. So we're going to discuss how to do that even when it comes to co-wives, because we've seen so much, whether it be with some of our clients or people who are contacting us or yet to become clients, as well as just other people that we see in different groups, that when it comes to a co-wife relationship, it seems to be something that's almost unheard of, like a positive co-wife relationship. It seems to be something unheard of. And one thing that really stood out to me, what put that in perspective for me, is I put out a post today with my co-wife and I in the lab, taking care of some stuff, preparing some things for you guys. And one of the comments was that it's great to finally see, pretty much something on the lines of that, a positive image of two African American women, who are co-wives that are doing something, that are positive, working together. Again, I totally paraphrase and probably put way more words in it because I'm a woman. But when it comes down to it, it was like, that's us. Alhamdulillah, we can be that example, but it really sucks to say that you don't see that. You see a whole bunch of horror stories. So because of that reason, not only because of that reason, but because of that reason, we want to talk about how we cultivate these relationships. So this is not rare air when you see that. I'm gonna continue to share. I just wanted to just chime in for a second.
And I like the garden. I love the garden example because I'm like, if there's some beef, you're not gonna find it in the garden. You'll find beef in the garden, and it shouldn't be beef in a garden. It's gonna be out the pasture. So I'm like, people don't grow beef in a garden. You don't grow beef, and you shouldn't. We should abandon that, and we're gonna get into that. Some of the scary stuff. It's some of the good things that need to be happening with co-wives, prayerfully. Again, we don't try to force people to do anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to communicate. You don't have to be friends. But we're talking about best practices so that you can have best results. People ask us all the time what we did, what we do. And we're going to get into some of those things and share them with you all. IG in the house. We got Canada, represent Philly, New Jersey, Nigeria now. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah. Glad you all are here with us this morning.
Ready?
Ready. Get it.
All right.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
So yeah, where to start? Okay, so how to cultivate your relationship. Okay, I'm going to speak partially. Right now, I'm going to speak from an incoming wife, subsequent wife, whatever you want to call it, second wife, anything like that point of view, because a number of times and through different conversations, second wives, subsequent wives, or anything like that, are usually the ones who do reach out more often than not to connect and communicate and cultivate a relationship with the co-wives, as far as what I've heard. Now, I've also, I've been wanting to do, I did the same thing. And a couple of things. Sometimes it's a stigma out there that it's actually the incoming wife's job to do that because, the initial wife was there and he was there first. So it's like, you embarked on something that was hers. So you need to try to smooth out any type of, discrepancies or some issues or anything like that. Other times it's just like, okay, I want to be like, hey, here, or women, not just me, just saying that it's like, hey, I want to get to know you, we're part of the family, let's do this thing. So how do you do that? One, make the decision to want to connect. Because you got to connect first in order to try to cultivate. You can't just say, hey, let's start doing this and that, and this, that, and the other. I never went to a coach afterwards and said, hey, let's start doing this thing. First, what it comes down to is like connecting, trying to connect first. One of my things is, I don't know who would say no to gifts. I mean, people can. Maybe I've heard some people that said they rejected a gift from their co-wife. And that's kind of hurtful to let y'all know. But my co-wife never rejected any gift that I gave her at all, ever. And not only did she not reject the gift, she would actually send a thank you card back. Even though we weren't even at the time at first, we weren't talking like, face to face or anything like that. Our relationship grew after years, but it grew and it grew to what it is now. But you first have to make a decision to say, what, I want to connect, and when you make the decision to say.
What if you don't want to connect?
If you don't want to connect.
Why would it be advantageous to connect,
okay,
if at all?
Okay, because I'm like, if you won't be wanting to cultivate and you don't want to connect. But if you do, if you don't want to connect, why would it be, wise, advantageous, so to speak, to connect? A couple things. You're a family, part of a family, and you are connected, regardless of whether you want to believe it or understand it or
Accept
admit.
it.
That's the word I was looking for. Accept. See, cultivating relationships. She know the words I'm looking for. Where if you don't want to accept, you're still part of the family. You're connected by this common denominator, which is your husband. So if anything was to happen, and it doesn't have to be negative, just things run a lot more smoothly when everybody is working together. You don't have to be in the same household. My co-wife and I are not in the same household. And things, he's one person, but we have a family, we are a family together. So there can be any type of things that may be needed, that may need to be done, things like that. And it makes it easier all around the board. It actually helps you achieve your goals and dreams and desires and everything like that faster when you're working together instead of butting heads or, nitpicking about who had this time or who had this gift or who had this anything or whatever the case may be. It's easier for the family dynamic. It is better for the family dynamic, even when it comes to children, because if you have children, whether you both have children or all of you have children, or one household has children or whatever, these children are watching, and it creates a mentality or it creates some type of can't say legacy, I can't think of the word, but it creates this thing that's just stuck in their heads about what stuff should look like or what it has looked like or anything like that. And yet it can create friction where you have children wondering, well, why, Omi or mommy don't like this person, or why we can't go over here, or it's a lot of those things that we see where when the wives are not connecting or cultivating a relationship, children are being torn, they're in the mix, and then they're being forced to either choose a side or, they don't know what's going on, but they're stuck in the middle.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's it. I tried to think about what healthy practices we practice as co-wives, and one of them that I had to learn how to practice was seeing my co-wife and other co-wives as individuals and not just the wife of, the husband in the middle. Because when you do that, you take away her identity, you stick it to his. And a lot of people did that with myself and Coach Nazir early on. So when that happens and you just fuse two people together, like they just share a brain and they don't have any independent thought of their own, you can allow a lot of unhealthy emotions to taint your image of that person, because you're mad at your husband and you push them together and you don't get to know your co-wife, and you mad at her for no reason because you didn't get to know each other. So that's something that I had to learn fast, because as my co-wife, Coach Nyla, was stating, it affects the children as well. So I had a window of time in which to give myself some act right. I'm a Muslim woman, so I have Muslim children, and I didn't want them to have this negative image of polygyny, because they were going to continue to grow and continue to watch me and watch all of us, no matter whether I liked it or not. So it's, what image did I want to portray as a wife? And I also had to learn to look at the many hats that different women wear. So they're not just wife, they're not just, this is somebody's child, this is somebody's daughter, this is somebody's sister, their auntie, their cousin. They're valuable to other people. So then my job was to find out what makes the skip what he thought. I had to find out and look past what our husband found valuable in her and go, okay, well, what makes her a good daughter or mother or sister or cousin or all those different things, hard worker? What was her personality like? And I think there's a fear. I know there's a fear attached to, or we try to see if other people want us to talk to each other. We're worried about what other people think. What will people think of me if I start talking to my co-wife? And usually they think you crazy because you have the same husband and they don't understand why you would like somebody that is sharing a man with you. And I'm here to tell you it's possible to like someone and love them and you share the same husband because you've gotten to know the person. Somebody left something on a post, or I don't know if it was our video. I think it's a post that one of us made recently within the last couple of days. And it was the 80-20, 50-50, 50-50 post on IG. And they said something to the effect, and I'll just paraphrase that, if you think this is going to work in polygyny, it's like it's not. I was thinking to myself, you can't tell me what works in polygyny because we do this every day. So it does work. And losing the assumptions on what I thought I knew was a big move. So to think, polygyny can't work, or what is it? You said it all the time, mind your marriage. I'm not married to Coach Nyla, and she's not married to me. We're married to Nazir, and we have our own individual marriages. And that's super important because their marriage is not my business, and my marriage with him is not her business. And we don't make it each other's business like that. We don't get in each other's business. We know our limits and we know our limitations. And if we know of something, we're in a place of resolve and trying to help each other and trying to help our family feel better and have these common goals of having a healthy family that practices polygyny. That's the goal. If that's not the goal, then you have to do some self-evaluation.
All right, a couple things. We'll come back and sit down. But
All right.
our sister Jen says from IG, my co-wife won't accept. He married me. He hides his visits to me from her and his children because they're so upset. They all know he's married, but they won't accept it. And then our sister CC from Facebook. So how are they accepting your marriage if they? Oh, come on. Wait, sorry. Another comment. So how are they accepting your marriage if they was here before your marriage?
I don't know. Okay, now it's all melting together on me.
It says how did they accept your marriage if I don't know. I look at it again over here. It wasn't necessarily as clear as it could be. CC, you could redo that. Now here's the thing. The reason I'm sitting here is because some reason, many times we hear that the husband has an issue with his wives having any type of relationship, which to me, that's pretty weird. Like, who are you inbuilt not to have a relationship with in this world? So it's weird to me anyway, to begin with, but it's understandable. I mean, we live in a society today that's pretty backwards. All right. In general, I mean, it's pretty backwards. If you don't know that I'm a male, these are two females, it is what it is. Our sex is determined by our DNA. I'm just saying now, however you feel or whatever, it's a very real weird world. But the natural order of things still is going to persist regardless. So with that being said, when something like monogamy is pushed, and again, we're not anti-monogamy, we simply are pro-morals. And we teach morals, growth, love, connection in what you do. So polygyny as a form of poly is the form that's really family-based. So we're not talking about polyamory, we're not talking about polyandry. No, that's not us, that's not what we do. We practice polygyny. So you see the three of us here, but from the three of us here, if you saw like a recent image that we put on Facebook, for example, of the family, most of the family, everybody except one, we got 14 of us. 14, right?
14 of the picture.
There's 14 in the picture out of 15 total.
15 of them,
So
yeah.
pretty thick. But with that being said, I don't understand why a husband have an issue with that. Okay, unless he's doing his job, because you have to protect. So if one is trying to just get at the other or be petty and feel superior and all that, then it's like, okay, maybe now is not the right time for that. All right, because one of the elements in a successful polygynous relationship is maturity. All right, and the more mature you are on every side, the better. Now that doesn't mean it's just going to happen. Well, I need to be mature. Okay, let me mature on up, and it's going to. No, we're humans. We have emotions. We have all kind of other stuff that can get in the way of that. But ultimately, should something happen, and something will happen, we all live and we all die. Okay, so a friend of mine had a situation in a different country. He was hemmed up and everything else for no fault of his own, and he had a couple wives and stuff like that, and they weren't interacting, but they had to interact. You know, and imagine how uncomfortable it is interacting after a certain amount of time because you need to work together to do something for your family that's going to benefit everybody. You know, but it could take a little bit by a little bit. So we don't have, oh, I'm born, so I don't like this person or these groups of individuals or people. No, but all of a sudden, if a man decides to practice polygyny, all of a sudden that's my enemy now. Why? Because society has already put it in you. It's my man or my like property, if you will. When that's not the case, none of us belong to each other. Our children don't even belong to us. They come through us. But again, so it takes that level of maturity. So the only way I can really see a husband getting in between something like that is if he knows one wife is more petty or something like that, or they would just want to sit and compare and just make you about the whole situation versus cultivating their own personal relationship. So to me, that's a sign of weakness. You should at least want it to be better. Now, again, co-wives don't have to have a relationship at all. But best practice wise, having more peace wise, because usually we want peace more than anything, it makes sense to have that flow on the lowest level to be cordial and not disrespectful. But to grow into a loving relationship that's caring for the entire family, not just because of the kids, but you want to demonstrate that for the children and other people as well. So whatever the motivation may be, as long as it's moving in the right direction with good intentions. So you really have to kind of schedule out what's the vision you want to have for your family. What is the vision? And as the imam or the man or the leader of the fam, that's my responsibility to say, well, this is what I would like to see. We need to, you know, kind of get on that path there because this is the path to success. No matter how much other friction may be there, dislike or whatever be there, we have to, like, you know, our brother Shadi Muhammad talks about, you got to stand in your discomfort. Is that easy? It's easier said than done. Nobody likes, you don't want to stand in your discomfort, have to deal with this and unnecessary blah. But that's part of life. Like a sister contacted us this morning. She was like, well, she contacted through IG. She was like, and first of all, listen, if you want to contact us, the best email is support@outstandingpersonalrelationship.com. Inboxing us is not the best. It's not. We may respond. It might not be the quickest, but it's not necessarily the best. And we also don't do matchmaking. So my Desi brothers and sisters, my Arab brothers and sisters, my Afghanis, my African brothers and sisters, please stop calling and not calling. Please stop communicating with us, inboxing us, talking about hook you up with some wives. No. That's your responsibility, bro. So, all right, just get that out of the way. Anyway, so she inboxed about, okay, well, my husband, you know, he's married, this and that, and what should he do? He married me, I'm second wife, so, you know, kind of what should he do? He's scared of this and this and that. Well, you really do have to step into your manhood, if you will, and deal with that discomfort. All right, either you're going to slow go with ripping the Band-Aid off and dealing with that wound or whatever and delaying the healing of it, or you're going to just do it quickly. Because either way it's going to be some type of form of pain. And we dealt with in the other videos, so we're not going to go there when it comes to different threats of divorce, taking the kids, or fighting, or all kind of other stuff that can come along with it. But again, also you still made that decision, have to decide whether or not it's worth it, or it's worth living with the resentment of not doing it. All right, we're not even given the option of, because we think you care about your soul, we're not even given the option of saying, okay, well, you know what, Zina, nah, not really, bro. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, prayerfully that part helped, but that's why I'm here just for a few more minutes, and I'm going to field some different questions and stuff like that. So if you do have questions, Facebook, YouTube, maybe IG, might go back over there, I don't know. But anyway, so how do you deal with it if they don't accept your marriage? They're angry, they're upset, they know you're married, they know that part is there, but they don't necessarily want to accept it. That was the question, in summary.
The wife don't? I don't know.
Yeah, the wife, the family, first family doesn't. It's called it the first family.
Don't accept your marriage.
Right. Something else.
And they're Muslim?
Well,
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, that's not an easy. I mean, it's not an easy question to really answer if they don't accept. I mean, they're actually not the ones that that make or break your marriage, unless you allow them to. But they're not the ones that make or break it. Yes, you want to be able to have peace. Just like Coach Nazir was talking about. I think overall we want peace. We want fulfilling relationships. However, I did a post probably like some weeks ago. I was talking about that. it's not your job to do the work for somebody else. So, you can work on you and you can work on yours. That's why we constantly talk about minding your marriage. Continue to cultivate the marriage that you want, with who you're married to. Everything else is just gravy or icing on the cake, for the most part, to me anyway, especially cultivating the fulfilling family dynamic all around the board. You can't force the issue. If they don't want to accept it, they don't want to accept it. I can't even, it ain't really nothing that I can say that would, that would change that or can help somebody saying, well, they don't accept it, because we can't make anybody do anything. We can't make our children do the things we want them to do. They still gonna do what they want.
So that goes into CC clarified a little bit. She
Oh,
said
okay.
she's talking about each sister having children. Were the kids before the marriage, and if so, how were they accepting the marriage of two women? Two
Our
wives?
children or just
No, she was talking about in general.
Okay, like there are children before polygyny type of thing. Okay, well,
They usually-
couple things with my co-wife and I, Coach Nazir and Coach Fatimah, they had children before we got married, and I actually had 2 children, and from previous relations, from previous marriage, and a previous relationship before I got married to Coach Nazir. So there were children on both sides that was before our union. So what? I was like, okay, I said that on purpose, that just to say. One of the things is that just like Coach Fatimah said,
Maybe it is. She says, "Oh, so how are they accepting your marriage if they were here before your marriage?" So yeah. So it is talking about. I'm assuming it's talking about our children. So let's talk about our kids. Yeah, let's talk about our kids.
Talking about y'all. Do you wanna?
No, you
No,
start.
Okay. All right. Don't want to be rude. My daughters had a little bit of an attitude. I'm not gonna lie, because they have their own feeling and their own jealousy for their father. I've spoken about this before, and they would have it whether I was living or if I was dead, they would still have it, because they have informed me that if something happened to their father, they will take care of things and there's no need for me to get married again. I was like, wait a minute. So they have their jealousies for their parents. They were not happy, but I learned that being honest with them and letting them express their honest feelings helped a lot, and not putting restrictions or telling them you can't say this or that. Now, I did tell them you can be unhappy if you want to. I wasn't happy. But what you cannot do is be disrespectful towards his marriage to his wife, because back then we weren't coaches. But so I said, you cannot disrespect her because Allah allows this. So we're not allowed to disrespect it as a marriage. So I don't want to hear any, disrespectful terminology such as baby mama, side chick, side piece, side wife. I don't want to hear any of that. So as a Muslim mother, I had to remind them, you can be upset and hurt, but we're not going to be disrespectful. Now, with that, they have grown to love my co-wife very much, and they're very protective of her. So it took some time, but it took a lot of having conversations and answering their questions, and it happened slowly. But I do want to say this. I don't want people to think that if it's not accepted now, that it won't be accepted. And I had to understand personally that if the Creator, Allah, accepted it, then who was I to be against it? So when you reach a certain level of maturity and then your children see you do that, it helps a lot. So had they seen me say things that were really disrespectful, or they're not married, it's not real, I'm illegal, and all these different things, then that's the route they would have taken. So being very careful about understanding what's allowed in our culture and what isn't is important. So they love my co-wife now very, very much. And even when we shop, they go, "Oh, Sister Nyla like that, or we should get her," this and that. So, alhamdulillah, I'm grateful for that.
Now, for a timeline, you might be wondering, okay, to get to that point. So, Coach Nyla and I have been married 10 years, and tomorrow, Coach Fatimah and I have been married 25 years. Yay,
Great.
alhamdulillah. So,
Great.
really quickly though, I'm got to respond to the salams, a lot of salams. Coming in.
Salams.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh wa Ramadan Mubarak. So, timeline matters. So when Coach Fatimah was talking about, okay, doing this and do that and so on, it was just, it's a timeline. So initially, there's heat you got to deal with. All right. Maybe you might not have to deal with it, depending on your maturity level, your wives and different stuff. Maybe not. But in general, there's usually heat. There's a change to the system. There's something different that's happening. So you go from monogamy to polygyny. Now stuff changes. So it's a different perspective. Now, the tone of that, though, is usually set by the wife. Okay, so if she's negative and it's drama and it's heat, the kids going to follow that. They're going to be on mama's side, regardless. They came from her womb. They're going to, you expect that. Okay, so that's how our stuff was initially at the beginning. So it was heat and drama and all that and pain and emotion. It's a roller coaster thing. It was a problem. Like I said, we weren't coaches back then. We were looking for coaches. Nothing really existed. You know what I'm saying? We didn't really have much resources at the time. But so there was a lot of stuff to go through at that point, and many things to learn. So it took time to churn through a lot of that, to see the focus, to be able to evaluate, to put the emotions down and look at it, clearly without the fog of the other stuff. So the children decided to come around and feel more comfortable, obviously after their mother felt more comfortable. Okay, so she was, and they usually are the ones to lead it. Like the question the sister asked my IG, she was like, well, mama don't accept it, so now they're all angry. Well, it would actually go a lot easier if mama wasn't in such a fashion. Then the children would be a little bit more trying to figure out how they should be feeling about something, because they're automatically going to adopt. But the great part is investing in your own growth and leadership and teamwork and everything else, and expanding, and most importantly, you're praying. You're making dua, your very specific dua, taking it to the Creator, the one who's in control of all hearts. You take it to Allah Ta'ala, and you're praying and you're diligent on stuff, and your heart begins to open up and you begin to learn and so on. Then, that change and that growth can actually occur. So it wasn't just we're here now, this is great. Now the kids no, it was a process. You know what I'm saying? So out of the 10 years, you're talking about like half of that still it was cordial. It was this, it was that, and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, again, they didn't have to be friends. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? But I got fed up and got nudged and urged more like, hold up, this is not the vision I was talking about. So either we need to move in this direction. I need to be more strong when navigating this ship in this direction and be more intentional, or not. So I chose be more intentional, deal with the other discomfort. Let's grow. Let's have these discussions necessary and make that happen, because that's my job ultimately anyway. So, after the time, the kids. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I was
No,
There was a few other questions.
I mean, because that was, I don't know what to say, because it was like a difference on my end. And a lot of people say, well, you're incoming, so that's the that's the reason why. That's not necessarily always the case, because you still have children like, this is a new family coming in. I'm so used to being with you. So it could be the same, and it could be similar. I'm not gonna say it'd be the same way, but it could be similar where it's some jealousies, it's some this and that and other. But I do believe it's in the way you cultivate the situation, cultivate the relationships, and prepare for the relationships to come. So, Coach Fatimah said a number of things. It's just certain things of the way, like the family dynamic that I've come from, it's always been blended. I didn't realize it till she said it, but but it was true. Like my mom met the siblings that come right under me, met their father when I was like 2 years old. So they are still like, they don't call me anything other than like their like he calls me his daughter. They call me their his sisters and brothers call me their niece, and and all this other stuff. So that was probably my first hand that I can think about as far as a blended, family that just didn't seem blended. It was like, okay, I'm part of this family, and that's how that was. Then my siblings came along. I'm the one child that has like a different father, and then it's my siblings and my mom's previous relationship, and then there's my 5 other siblings from my mom's marriage now. And it's like we never, just the way it was done and the way my mom, cultivated the relationships. She didn't, have a lot of people around like that. And also she was like, well, this is, we couldn't say stepsister, type of thing. We couldn't say, well, it wasn't step at the time like that. We couldn't say like half brother, half sister, none of those type of things. Not that we did, because it wasn't, I didn't even think about it until I was older. So when Coach Fatimah put that, she was like, what you always had, this was something you grew up with. This was something natural and new to you. That's why it wasn't a big, it wasn't like this big transition to me, and how I would prepare my children for, new brothers and sisters, or, a father that's going to be there, or, like the father figure or father, whatever, that would be in their lives. That's going to be different than when we telling them what to do, because it was a gap, between, my former marriage and my marriage to Nazir. So, it was that different thing, but it was still this preparation, because it was this normal and natural to me. So they didn't have the issues. They didn't have the, well, this is my only, and, I'm not going to listen to Fatimah, or, Coach Fatimah, or, I'm not going to call it. It wasn't none of that type of thing, because of just the way it was, I keep wanting to say cultivated, but that's not the word. I want to say something different, but the way it was put out there, I guess. I don't know. But people do, say, well, it wasn't going to be any issues because of that. No, it could be issues because of those type of things, but it's just, the way we handle it. And, it's just like Coach Nazir said, it comes with growth and, moving forward and wanting something better.
Yeah. So true. And to speak to what Coach Nazir was saying about, the kids see what the mom does, and they, act accordingly, and they pick sides. They do pick sides. It's their mother, and they go, you cute and everything, and you dad, but this is my mama. They don't care. But it depends on.
Today's Mother's Day for these people.
Yeah.
People celebrate Mother's Day,
Yeah.
right?
Shout out to y'all.
They get a whole bunch more
Yeah.
than the whole Father's Day thing. So,
Yeah. It's pretty lit. So, there's another layer to that. So when kids don't have all the information, when wives don't have all the information they need, they act a certain kind of way, and they're not as accepting. So that's why we always talk about, preparing, your families, and you don't have to, but there's a lot of shoulds that should be observed to make things smoother. So if my sons grow up, our sons grow up, and they want to enter polygyny, I will let them know you need to sit everybody down and have a conversation. I will never tell them don't do it. You shouldn't do it. I will never tell any of our 6 boys that ever. 6, 7. Ever. I would want to support that expansion of family. But based off of the things that the 3 of us have learned, we would pass on the shoulds and the maybes, and think about it, and the musts to our sons. So I support it 100%, but I also support good communication as well.
Indeed. And basically, I could understand that, because when we talk about best practices and what we do, we also talking about from the good and the bad of it.
Yeah.
All right, because I didn't have the best communication skills. I married and told my wife later after I got married. That's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is actually deal with it first or shortly thereafter versus anything else. So I had to own up and man that part, because I could, because of me not doing that, I was more understandable in hurting, the pain and the drama and all this kind of stuff, but the part I played in it. But either way it goes, now getting to this point, you need to know. And again, we being transparent, being right up front, you still have to deal with it. And there's always hope if you chose right. You know, you can be, oh, just sexy, ooh, she talks slick, I think that's cute type stuff, like this video that I recently saw about some brothers saying, well, they'll never practice polygyny again. And don't worry, polygyny is not calling them. But, you know, they were like, well, yeah, you know, I just got married, I didn't want to allow a girlfriend and all that kind of stuff. That, you know, they were younger, you know, at the time. And now I initially got married when I was 19. So it is what it is. But, you know, that type of mentality and lack of maturity, lack of growth, if you still have that as a man, then your manhood may be called into question. So we do need to speak on that. But we do have a few different questions. Unless you have anything else. Comment on that part. No? Okay, so the sister asked a question. She says, is the wife's friends off limits? As in, you know, what if a wife friend wants to marry you, or she wanted you to marry her friend or something like that? Would that be off limits?
My friend, she's asking what our
No, just generally.
Oh, just generally?
We know people who've done it. They're like,
Yeah.
they have their friend bring friend. Us, I don't think, you know, I'm not really interested in that.
No,
Yeah,
my
I mean,
friends aren't.
He's not interested in it, but it's not off limits to me. I don't, you know,
My friends aren't interested.
You know, I mean, I don't have. Leave that alone.
Yeah, it's not off limits, which is true. That's
what I'm
true.
saying. The whole thing was if it's off limits. It's not off limits, but you know, that's only if they're willing to.
Right, exactly. My friends are not interested because of pretty much my friends. It would be weird because they look at him as a brother, but I would say it's not off limits if that's the understanding that someone has in their family, that that's something that they want to do. Because we've seen that, and we've seen it work, and we've seen it not work, but it's doable.
All right, so I know you said each other as family and siblings.
Absolutely. And they're very close. Initially, it's something that they had to kind of transition into. I'm going to speak about my children through biology. They had to transition into that because it was something they were used to, the kids that were in their house. So it was difficult for them to go from, it's difficult for them to see their family this way. And then there's an addition to that, and then they got to get used to that. And my daughters at the time were teenagers. So one of them was at least was in a transitional age. So they were going from a certain grade to another grade. So that was a whole difficult thing to, you know, be in high school. And I think oftentimes the kids also have trouble with, oh, what if my friends find out, or what if this gets out? So that had to be handled and talked about. So there was different layers to what they were going through individually, but it took them some time. And it also took a lot of honesty in saying, okay, this is your baby brother. That's it. It's not your stepbrother. It's not your half brother, none of that. So I've never come from a place of, I always wanted them to be close to their siblings because I don't want them to have this horrible view of polygyny. I really wanted to be, I ultimately decided, it's like my co-wife was saying, I ultimately decided to make a decision to be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Indeed. Now, there's a couple of questions. Some are kind of funny. One says, how do you provide? It says, aunties, how do you provide? How do you cook food for 14 people?
Yeah, I read that before.
Okay, so
You know what I'm saying?
real quick.
Like tonight, I just thought about that tonight.
So
We're having
real
it in Iftar. One of our sons, my son Nasir, is turning 9 years old.
Shout out
He
to
turned 9
him.
years old today.
Shout out
So,
to that, brother.
You know, we're gonna have Iftar and everything tonight, celebrate him, say what we love about him, and have the fam all together and stuff like that. So I want to address that. Aunties.
Aunties.
Hilarious.
I'm at auntie age, I guess. You want to go first?
You prepare like you prepare iftar. No, I mean the thing is this: we don't do it all the time because we have separate households, so it's not.
To answer your question, Khaled, no, we don't all the time.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
We live in separate households. However, it's the thing though. We get together at least once a week for our family meetings. Well, we're not doing the cookies and stuff that my daughter usually makes, and you know whatever because it's Ramadan. However, this girl in the morning we're about to meet. She's preparing cookies for everybody. She did like cinnamon. And then she did cinnamon rolls. It was like 30 cinnamon rolls. It was retarded. So it's not really that difficult. I guess when you know how many people are going to be there, you have the food. It's fairly simple. But like tonight, the plan is that we're ordering pizzas.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do some other stuff, like some little sides and little fun stuff and everything like that. But yeah, it's
We have a lot of hands.
we have a lot of hands, a lot of help. So that's a cool thing too. So yeah. And then people are older, so we're gonna help.
Yeah. Mhm. And do we do stuff together? Yes, we do stuff together. We go to the store, we go have coffee together before Karanda showed up on the scene, aka Corona. They shut the coffee house down. We create content together, we kiki, we watch movies together as a family. But as co-wives, we do things together. Yes, we do.
All right, sister says, okay, listen, y'all. Accept versus accept. This is important only because they have opposite meanings. Yeah. Okay, so when the family accepts you, ACCEPT, that means they welcome you. If they accept you, EXCEPT, that means they accept you. You need to get up out of here. They don't accept you. Okay, so I'm just putting it out there because several different people put it across. So just the hint for today, little advice. Sister said, I was told that you have to accept all Muslim men are game. Maybe I wouldn't have worded it like that, but so does this have any truth? All Muslim men are game, meaning that he might be married, but basically he's still available.
See, this is my thing. What I say, I'm just gonna tell you what I say. You are not single. You married, but available until you have 4. That's me. That people may not agree with what I say, but that's fine with me. You are available until you have 4 because it is not my.
We don't want you to have 4.
But whatever. I don't. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, I'm saying.
I'll speak for
this
myself.
Is what I'm saying.
Hypothetically.
This is why I'm
for
saying
me.
this because not that time. Yes, the time thing is different. But I'm saying that because. Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah, it was as far as spending the time, but you can visit and we could go see each other as a family and stuff. It works.
I'm not interested.
However, see, I see the solutions in my head. I'm just saying the reason. This is the
not
thing.
that anybody else is that's watching either.
But my thing is this: is that because I'm not going to go against what Islam says, and I'm not going to sit there and stress my brain and stress myself out trying to say, well, you can't do this and you can't. That's neither here nor there for me. Now, my thing is, once I said, and we continue to talk about this, mind your marriage. As long as I'm minding my marriage, then whatever happens is just the way it's supposed to happen anyway. It is what it is. I don't have control over him, and I don't have control over any incoming, if there will be any incoming wife or wives or anything like that. So my thing is, I would trust that he would choose wisely, and that they'll be family oriented, and we just have more family. It'll be more to the family. My thing is this: I want people to be fulfilled, happy, and at peace, and I'm cool with that. Period. That's just my take on it. Just saying. And everybody like that.
All right, as a man. All right, this is not really the topic today. So we're talking about cultivate co-wife relationships, but we've discussed that before. Now, here's the deal. People reach out and ask, sometimes in the comments or the email, and they want to go deeper on the topic. See, one of the things is we're going live right now and sharing some tidbits from what we already do inside our relationship mastery inner circle. So if you are interested, you're not just curious, but if you're serious, if you really want to dive deeper when it comes to polygyny, relationships, and personal growth, then we highly encourage you to go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/RM. Check out RM for Relationship Mastery and see what we do with our courses. Because the fact of the matter is, when we initially got started, we were searching for many different resources because we understand the value of personal development. And if you're not investing in yourself, so if I were to ask you, and you want to say, okay, Coach Nazir, talk to me. First of all, you're not going to pick my brain. No, it's not going to live like that. But I'm going to ask you, what do you read? What are you listening to? What are you doing for your personal development? On top of, if you're Muslim, your Islamic development. All right, what are you doing? Because if you're not doing something regarding leadership or teamwork or strategies or critical thinking or investing or whatever, then you're really not doing what you're supposed to be doing as a man. All right, and if you're not part of something where you're getting the support and the resources, then how successful do you choose or think you're going to be? You know what I'm saying? You really have to be intentional. So we encourage you, again, as we're taking this off and just sharing, feasibility live, if you will, then, if you want to go deeper, if you feel like, you got it and everything is made, and that's fine, no problem. You're good to go. But if you want to go deeper and you want to grow and you want to build on that love and connection, then outstandingpersonalrelationships.com is where we are. You can find us. Our handles on Facebook and YouTube are the same, Outstanding Personal Relationships, and on IG, Outstanding Relationships. But again, that's social media channels, and that's one thing. We can go to one level here, but we can really dive deeper and they get worksheets and get coaching calls and stuff like that inside our course and our program. So I do need to let you know that, because that's an important question. Like this is ask a question again. I'm not going to address it now. We did it, for example, in the month of February when we dealt with love in February. But it says, Salam, Coach Nazir, as a man, can you talk about the love needs of men? As women, it can be hard sometimes for us to truly understand, but besides the need for respect and intimacy, what are some others? So now is not, because again, cultivate co-wife relationships and really keeping on topic there, but we go deeper in the course.
Right, I was going to say that too. For this month, we'll most likely, for the RMIC members, go deep into that, because it's not just we talk about cultivating relationships. So we'll be talking about cultivating, like Coach Fatimah and I, like we're all talking about cultivating co-wife relationships. We'll be talking about cultivating relationships with your spouse, cultivating relationships with yourself, cultivating relationships with your children, and cultivating relationships, with other people. So when it comes down to it, if you're part of the RMIC, you will get a lot of that information. As Coach Nazir said, we dive deep into it in this month, because we're talking about cultivation and cultivating the relationships. That will be something that we'll address in the RMIC.
Sorry, any more questions dealing with, I'm going to go check IG in a second and get out your way.
Oh, I want to comment. Someone commented on the summit. Alhamdulillah.
No, I just sent her the email also because it's not related, but
yeah,
absolutely.
Real quick. If you do, we did do a summit. Those who are aware of it, we did.
Muslima Influencer Summit 2020.
2020. So yeah, definitely check that out when you guys get a chance. Sister, I like the information you said. Could you nominate some people? Definitely shoot us a line. Definitely.
People have been contacting us too about the whole Mother's Day thing, whether or not you be Muslim.
Oh yeah, that too. You don't need to be Muslim to take advantage of the Muslim Influencer Summit 2020 online. We actually had so much feedback that people wanted to see it, they missed it, or they only saw part of it, and they wanted to, or some watched the whole thing, wanted to watch it again. And now it is an online course. So definitely you want to take advantage of it. If you're Muslim, celebrating Ramadan and all that other good stuff, makes a wonderful Eid gift, and that would be awesome for Ramadan. And even to just get into just watching and get your personal development in during Ramadan. Those who are not Muslim and are celebrating Mother's Day and everything, perfect Mother's Day gift. Just totally shameless plug, because it's an awesome summit. You don't have to be Muslim or Muslima to get the benefit of these wonderful sisters.
Where can they get it? What's coupon code?
In this in the course. You can get it at muslimainfluencersummit.com, and make sure you put in the coupon code Ramadan 1441. 1441. See, dyslexia was kicking
Acting
in.
like me.
So muslimainfluencersummit.com. Make sure you put that coupon code Ramadan 1441.
We do have some.
Mm-hmm.
There's some questions on IG, y'all.
Do you practice group economics as a family? And if so, can you speak on the benefits, inshallah? That's one. We're a family before marriage. He's my brother-in-law, lost contact, nieces and nephews. It's gonna take time, inshallah, sis. And Khalil is watching, so he sends smiley face with his eyes. Saying co-wife is much nicer than first or second wife. Smiles. Okay. Yeah, so that's what IG.
Awesome.
Yeah, group economics. Yeah, we actually we're entrepreneurs. So as entrepreneurs, we own businesses and we invest. Now, do we practice? Did we get involved with polygyny? So she could be working, I could be working, she can working, did we all put it together? No, not that. I don't know where that concept come from. I've seen it online and look, it's very childish and immature the way it comes across. Now, can we build on something as a business and move forward and so on? Yeah, no doubt. And we do. I mean,
Right.
you know, and that's one of the reasons with many of our coaching, you know, we didn't come say, hey, you know, let's go ahead and start this business in this amount of years and all this kind of stuff. No, we didn't. But fortunately, we were working with people and helping them out and stuff like that. And other people were like, oh, you need to go get the information. And we already are familiar with, you know, online or internet marketing. We're doing that since 2010. So we figured, you know, we could put together different courses because we have courses and have a book and stuff like that with parenting at outstandingmuslimparents.com. So we target, you know, Muslim parents. When it comes to raising, you know, more than a dozen kids, you have some experience. And we have them pretty much from 2 years old, you know, mid-20s. So we have them in every stage. So we were doing that, and I was already doing that. And then when the opportunity presented itself after so many people started asking, there's only so much you can do. But just like this video right now, you know, whether it's just a few dozen people watching right now or a few hundred, you know, this can live on and benefit people that we may never know. So ultimately, our goal is to have on that scale, you know, some good deeds that are going to weigh heavily. You know, we want to get rewarded where we have no idea, and just it means a lot to get the du'as from all over the world where people are, you know, just making du'a for us and we're making it back for them. We don't even know, but the beauty of being able to have the internet, especially during this time of Ramadan. Just a short story. There was a lady, she contacted me on Facebook. We Facebook friends. I don't know her. You know, a lot of people I don't know, and that we had mutual friends in common. So she had hit me up and let me know she knew my brother, Rahimahullah. My brother had become Muslim. He was 14. He was killed due to mistaken identity when he was 16. And alhamdulillah, you know, he accepted Islam. So she remembered him as a teen, and she's grown. She's like maybe 5 years younger than me. So my brother was 5 years younger than me. I'm assuming they're around the same range. Anyway, so she contacted me, asking about Islam. You know, she had thought about him and all this kind of stuff. Saw us online doing some stuff, and we were talking about Islam. And we're talking about some different resources. I sent her some stuff. And what I didn't know, today she posted, and good sister, today she had posted that she was suicidal at the time and all this type of stuff. And then after she reached out to me, and I just pointed her in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you're sincere, a lot of times it's going to guide you. And evidently she's sincere. So she started digging into the Quran and these different things. And she had messaged me like, oh my goodness, this really opened my mind up, and sent some different links to some YouTube videos. So it warms your heart to see something like that. This is somebody who admittedly said she was suicidal. Of course, she didn't say that to me. Hey, I'm suicidal. I need some help. That's not my forte. That's not my strength. I can direct to someone that can maybe help. But it's amazing to see the rewards of that. And then also having my brother being a part of inspiration for that. And inshallah ta'ala, he get benefit from the grave for that. You know, so it's an amazing thing to really feel that, and it warms our hearts at the same time, to be able to, one, be a positive voice on polygyny, because all the horror stories, and we know negative news spreads 13 times faster than positive news, and it's all the way out there. But there are lots of successful polygynous unions. And one of the codes we had to violate to really come to you is privacy. You know what I'm saying? We don't, you know, the ones that are most successful, and you don't know about them, you don't see them, because they're not in your face. It's none of your business. Ours is none of your business. We don't have to be like, well, let's go help and show. We'll do this and that.
We didn't have to be like.
No, we didn't. You know what I'm saying? But we chose to do so. You know what I'm saying? So we seek refuge with Allah Ta'ala from the evil eye and these other challenges and things that come. And we believe that the benefit far outweighs the risk. And Allah Ta'ala knows best. So I hope that helped there. We'll check for a couple of questions over here on Facebook.
Well, that's the thing too, I was talking about, you know, us doing what we do and how, you know, it came about and everything like that. But it's like, it's an amazing thing. Like you said, the people who, you know, it could be like a half dozen or a dozen or whatever the case may be. But you look at the reach, you know, Australia and Nigeria and, you know, New Jersey and, you know, these different things. And it's like, you know, alhamdulillah, so, you know, humbling and rewarding to be able to, you know, assist or provide inspiration or anything like that. You know, and of course, you know, like you said, it's like, we have to do this, and no, we didn't, but if we did it, I don't know how many people would be, you know, finding the beauty in polygyny. We have had so many people talk about how, we've opened their eyes to what polygyny really is supposed to look like because of listening to all the horror stories. They saw this negative view of it. And, now they, see it in a totally different, viewpoint. So I'm so happy for that. So never know. You don't plan it, Allah's the best of planners, and boom, here we are.
Here we are. YouTubers. Like
There was
our
a
kids
question. I
tell
don't
us.
see it. I'm trying to read it verbatim, but a brother said, I think his name was Suleiman or something. A brother said that I want to get a second wife, but my wife said she'll divorce me. And we addressed this again all the time. We addressed it. Even today, I think we addressed it as well, because you either have to make the decision on whether or not it's worth it to marry another wife and she actually follows through and divorce, or if it's worth it to stay and be in a resentful marriage that may end up divorcing anyway just because of that. All right, that's a responsibility you have to weigh. Period. That's on you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, because marriage is not a joke, and sadly, a lot of people take it as one. They just, I've heard such things like certain parts of the country, not to be named, say, well, shoot, she ain't even really been married yet. She pretty much a virgin. She ain't been married at least 5 times. Yeah, what kind of, what's this? You know what I'm saying? We don't do more time. So there's a lot of that type of mentality. It's sad, but you have to make that decision on what's more important or more valuable to you or what have you when it comes to your life, as long as you're doing and working to do what's right. Inshallah ta'ala. So Sister Justina questions the salams. She says, I think she don't say something. She doesn't have Mother's Day. Anyway, so I have a question. When one wife feels like the other's getting favored, how as a man do you fix that? True or not? Monitor yourself and not just make a salat. What would be a good process? Because a lot of men don't know how to make them both feel important in a relationship. And yes, I've been in polygyny, first wife and a second wife, the other side of polygyny. All right. Oh, there's the question. I'm looking for a co-wife when my first wife would divorce me, but I want to follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Oh yeah, let me address that. You want to follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Marry. Don't need to be more than one wife. You know what I'm saying? Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was married to Khadija radiallahu anha, 15 years. What happened?
It's probably.
It's been an hour. We been an hour already. Over an hour.
So it wouldn't come
Oh
off.
yeah, okay. There it is. Whoa. Okay. Well, IG is gone, but we were about to wrap up anyway. I didn't know it was an hour. I don't know. Okay. You want to follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Get married. Period. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Marriage woman, so get married." So since you're already married, you're following this from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay. Anything additional, that's not followed. Anyway, so it's the sunnah. And that's great, but that doesn't mean you're not following the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam because you're not practicing polygyny. And that type of thought is not in conjunction with the Sharia. So you should get married. You're already married. You're already following the sunnah. It completes half your deen. So yeah, that's what I have to say on that point. I'm glad I came across that comment. So, well, Justina, there's no way to say, okay, I'll help her make her feel a certain way or make her feel a certain way. All you can do as the man is make sure you're being fair. That's it. All right. If a person chooses to feel a certain way or they decide to, they might be assuming things. Like you said, true or not. If something is true, then it's obvious. That means it's facts. All right. If it's not true, to them, it still may appear as facts and be true to them and their truth and not even real. You know what I'm saying? But to them, again, like Coach Fatimah, that's her reality. So they may think, oh, you're siding with her or you're doing more of this for her. And she's like, oh, you're doing more than this for her and all these emotions. Only you truly know if you're being fair. Okay. So you should be leaning more to one and kind of leaning more to the other and pushing back. No, you have to do the best that you can do emotionally, and then also speak and communicate with your wives. Communicate about the feelings and stuff like that. Is that easy? No. Am I the best communicator? No. But I do have ears and I can listen and I can demonstrate certain things. So knowing a love language or something, or if somebody may feel they're missing out in a certain area, you can do more to that. But at the same time, there's a really thin line between truth and manipulation. So many times a woman, just in general, I don't care if it's your mother, it's the auntie, it's a woman in general, they can play the role. I mean, like I've said, there's no person on the earth with better game than a woman. All right. And it's, just real. There isn't. So men do so many things to please a woman, and a woman has more control of doing that, but we're just not built with it the same way. It really is what it is. They're the motivating driving factor, whether you're talking about big houses and cars and flamboyant men, all kind of stuff. If it wasn't for women, men aren't doing that in general. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be upfront, communicate, listen, and do what you can to be fair and be clear, because we have to answer to Allah. So there's nothing that's going to make somebody feel a certain way. We choose how we feel based upon our interpretation of things, whether it's factual or not. All right. So like somebody with anorexia or bulimia or something like that, you may say, hey, you look too thin. I can see your rib cage, and they feel that they're fat as all get out. Of course, that's an extreme example. But on the other side, you got people like Lizzo, fat as all get out, unhealthy, morbidly obese, talking about she look good. You know what I'm saying? So the truth lies in communicating what your needs are, what you're feeling, and so on, and being open and honest enough to do so without any of the negativity being shot out. Because if any negativity comes shot out, then that can be seen as disrespect, even if the person doesn't mean to disrespect you. So again, there's no clear-cut answer with it, but as a man, what I can do is be aware of my what I'm doing. And if I'm not aware of my doing, listen to what's being said about what I'm doing, and then evaluate and see if that's actually true or if that's just an assumption. All right. And if it's true, change what I do, be more cognizant of it. Inshallah. And prayerfully it helps, because it's not a cookie cutter thing when you're dealing with emotions. It's really not. One thing could mean the world to somebody with an action or an activity, and to somebody else, it can be an annoyance. So it's learning, getting to know your wives and learning them and the different patterns, and doing what's best, what you feel is best at that time, inshallah. Y'all agree, disagree? Anything you want to add on that? Have you ever felt that I've been, we're doing more for this wife, we're doing more for this wife? Have y'all ever felt that?
Yes.
Because that's the next question.
We discussed that on before. I don't know if it was on a video or previous live or anything, but yeah, I actually responded to someone on the lines of that. It was like, have you ever felt, because we get those, but have you ever felt this way? Have you ever means have you ever? You might not be feeling it now. You may have not felt it last week. You probably felt it some years ago. Have you ever you ever in your life have ever felt this way? And yes, because I would be lying if I said that I never felt that way. And a lot of it, and just like I told one of the people who asked that question and was, responded to that question, was that you will, a lot of times it comes from, you have these different, different talks, or these different, the self-talk. And it usually comes from insecurity, or, not knowing your value, and a lot of different things like that. Now, sometimes it could be where it could be leaning, or whatever the case may be. But a lot of times when it happened with me, I can speak from my viewpoint. It was because of a lot of insecurity, period, point blank, where, and I've stated it before, where I'm the co-wife coming in, the incoming wife. So it's this history that they have, and the children and the relationships and everything like that they have, and the people that they know outside of me, that they have all these different things, because it's like, okay, well, I'm just singing in the background, and then I feel some type of way. Or, I may see that he may, say certain things, and it may seem like he's going a little bit extra on some of the stuff that, he said about her and not about me, and different that. And it's these different things where it's like, okay, is that really the case? This is how that goes with me. Is this really the case? Or is it you, feeling insecure about where you are, what your role is, and how you play a part, and what your, marriage is looking like, and everything like that. When I get to sit back and speak to myself with confidence and with some type of sense, then it comes to the point where it's like, okay, it's not that he's leaning, or it could be certain things that may be needed at a certain time that, I'm like, everything ain't gonna be equal. It's gonna be just and what was the word?
Fair.
Fair. That's the word. It's not gonna be equal, but it's gonna be fair. Because if you trust him to be fair and you know he's a good dude and a fair dude, then that's what's gonna happen. Period. Now, if you feel a certain way, you can talk, and communicate these feelings, but learn how to communicate. I would suggest to learn how to communicate the feelings where it's not seeming that you're so overly emotional about it. If it sounds like you're overly emotional, write a letter, because it would be the words instead of what it may sound like coming from you, because it could sound like it's whining or complaining or certain things like that. But in a letter, it gives them time to read it, process it, and then you can revisit it later. But yeah.
Any closing comments? In closing, because we're done. It's been an hour over what we expected, but it's good. Alhamdulillah, we appreciate the engagement and everything, but we still got stuff to do.
Nope.
Good. All right, one last round, real quick. Check into. All right, good stuff. What should we include in the email? Just email us, sis. What you were talking about up here. A question, brother. What do you think is the best way to introduce both of the sisters once you marry each other? It depends on temperament and where and stuff like that. So after you had your conversations, you would decide kind of what's best. So again, it's rarely any cookie cutter thing in polygyny in Islam, especially since Islam regulated it and limited it to 4 women at one time. Again, Islam didn't invent polygyny, but it restricted it and regulated it. So there's a lot of flexibility. There's flexibility when it comes to time. I mean, you have to be, fair in money and time. Okay, but if you decide to spend 3 days here, 1 day to yourself, 3 days at the other spot, you can do that. I mean, that's pretty much even, right? I know a brother who does stuff like that. And you have one that's like, all right, 2 weeks in a month, another 2 weeks, because they live quite a distance away from each other. For us, it's relatively simple because we live, just a few blocks. But, so there's flexibility in these different things. So, there's not a one way to do it. You have to determine whether or not the pain or the wound is too fresh. If there's pain, it might not be. Sometimes the first wife is like, yo, I want to meet her, do this and that. And the second one, the incoming wife is just like, it's a little too much. What's going on? Is there some underlying stuff that I need to, get surprised and everybody jump out, like a surprise party, so there are many different things. So you have to determine, evaluate the situation, speak and communicate and be receptive to listening and learning and not forcing anything. Because again, they don't have to be friends at all. You know what I'm saying? It'd be wise, just for family structure, but they don't have to be. So it may take time. It took my wife's time. I mean, knew each other, met each other, cordial and stuff like that. But it took time to get to where we are now, where we can coach other people and we can evaluate and look at and reverse engineer how we really got to this point and what the growth is. Hence, that's why we, developed the relationship master inner circle. So again, if you want to go deeper, and you like what we're talking about today and it made sense, then we go a lot deeper with a lot more. I mean, you see our graphs and charts and drawings and our frameworks and things like that. No, just messing with you. But you can't drink anything. It's not like you have some water. Nope, it's Ramadan. So with that being said, outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/RM to find out more about that. And prayerfully join us there because we're going to spend a lot more time serving our members there than really on social media. So we're going to work that schedule out. So, all right, Snow Lake, peace. Oh, I thought you were going to call.
I was going to call again, but I'll let you guys know. Make sure you always practicing GLC. Make sure you are growing consistently, loving intentionally, and connecting at a higher level every single day. And inshallah, we'll see you soon. Make sure you go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/RM so you'll get more information on our relationship mastery inner circle. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Okay, go.
Right, let me wrap this up with you like you about to call me.
It's been a while.
This is right here, just catching the weeds. I'm still swallowing. Like, just get away from here.
There's a lot more engagement. I didn't know it was an hour.
I did. Brain started going. 20 minutes.